Welcome back to the Dynasty Football Maniacs. All right, week 2 went by. Oh my God, my head is hurting. Whew. It was a toe tapping start to a frown looking face at the end of the week. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you weren't watching the games. All right, so let's start off with the first set of games. And this is going to go into one of my starts this week. And I talked about him in one of the tight end episodes. I know it's still too early to call, but I honestly think they're going to go in this direction. He is not the number one tight end. Don't think that, because Mark Andrews is a lot better at blocking, but I think the scheme at Baltimore is changing. So as long as Isaiah Likely stays healthy, I think he is going to be the number one wide receiver at the Ravens. And right behind him is going to be Mark Andrews. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, them are your two best receivers, and they were playing that game. Now, the finish of the game, I agree with Patrick Mahomes. Let's change the color of the shoes. What a toe tap finish. That could have been a whole different outcome if he just, I mean, I'm talking like a toenail, not even a full toe. I mean, a toenail. I mean, what a game. But I was wrong. I did want Baltimore win, and they didn't win, which gave me a loss. Chiefs were victorious, and I suffered that whole night thinking about it. Uh, but at the end of the day, I think if you have Isaiah Likely on the bench, which I guarantee you 80% of us did on week 1, you will not have him on the bench this week. And if you didn't have him on the team and he was some way or another on the waiver wire, I am sure by now everybody's out there betting and trying to grab him, and he will be placed on the team. And honestly, just with his performance from last year and then what he did on the game opener, I think it's for real. So that's just my take on it. Uh, what did you think about the game, Austin?
Well, I don't disagree with you about Isaiah Likely or Mark Andrews. Potentially, obviously leading the targets in that receiving game, but I don't know if it's sustainable. I think you're going to get some games where Isaiah Likely is going to do like he did last week, but I also believe that Mark Andrews is going to get into it as well because I really do believe the Chiefs really made a vocal point on stopping Mark Andrews. Like the Chiefs, if you watch the tape, they literally was bunching up on Mark Andrews, and you had a couple of double teams on him where it was stuffing him on the line as well. So I do agree. If Isaiah Likely is on the waiver wire, I would go after him, but I wouldn't grab him and expect him to have the numbers that he had every single week, just like he did last week. I'd still play with caution on that, but I mean, he's a good pickup, and if he's on your waiver wire now, some people's already done probably nabbed Isaiah Likely, depending on how your waiver wires run in your league. But if he's still on there, I really suggest you grab him. And another thing, I do agree, the shoes need to be different colors. We wouldn't really be having the discussion right now if they were wearing purple. So you know, it was a good game though.
Oh yeah,
It was a good. It
one of the
was a
better
good.
Thursday games I've seen in a long time.
It was a good game. Um, I still think I agree with you. Grab Isaiah Likely, but I would proceed with caution. It's the only negative thing I'll say is just proceed with caution.
I'm not saying he's going to bang out the same amount of points, but he's going to be a steady scorer. I think he's going to finish out the season as one of the top tight ends due to the fact that he's utilized as a wide receiver
Well,
more so than a tight end.
Well, I know a lot of people do it. I and myself, I catch myself doing it. Is a lot of people will overreact to things that happen on week one, especially week one. Week one is probably the most overreaction week during the whole football fantasy football season. So, and then you see people blowing up with numbers and stuff in the first week. You have a lot of people chasing numbers. A lot of
Yeah,
people
but
will chase numbers.
but I'm not
And
basing his numbers on week one. I'm basing his numbers on the performance
well,
he did at
I'm
the end of the season last year and what did beginning
and
of the
I'm
season.
not and I wasn't even counting you. I was
Oh,
this is a general talk.
yes.
This is general talk. You are just crazy.
Yeah, but I'm
You
statistically basing it,
well,
not making it up.
statistically what you will. I don't think Isaiah Likely will keep on doing what he is doing.
So
I
I'm gonna give a bold prediction. He will finish in the top 8 this year as a tight end.
I think he's lucky to even finish in the top 15.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on to the next subject. And remember, you can go back to my tight end episode, our tight end episode, and see where I said Isaiah Lakely will come out one day. Uh so with moving on, we got many tight ends like that now in the league. And I don't think it's going to be the new norm. I think it's going to die out. It always does. There is that rotation, but right now you do have some great players coming out of college going into the NFL that are extraordinary tight ends that are becoming more of a wide receiver role versus a tight end role. We're going to still see a progression with Sam Laporta. He ain't fell off. Uh, you're going to see Brock Bowers pick up. You're going to see Dalton Kincaid still go at it. And then you got your regulars. You got your Travis Kelsey and your Kittle. I mean, it's going to be there. Now, I'm very with the game coming up this Thursday, and I want to get I'm so confused by injury reports that are coming out, and then it's not really no reports coming out. It's other like they did not practice, some are questionable. I mean, so I'm not sure what's going on with Miami. I'm trying to figure that out. I know it's a little early for this. This is Tuesday. Wednesday is probably a better take on the situation going into Thursday. So it's a little too soon to predict. Um, just looking at the depth chart, per the articles I'm reading, I mean, I know Malik
Jay,
Washington will probably be out, but I don't think Devon A Chain's going to be out, and I don't think Morset's going to be out, even though they have not practiced yet. What do you think?
I I think I think they're probably gonna sit Devon Hand to just to be as a precautionary. Now I could be wrong, obviously. I am just playing by what I hear and see. But the Raheem Mostert one kind of took me by surprise as I didn't see anything about what he did to get hurt during the game or anything for that matter, to be honest with you. So
That's why I'm having this conversation. I'm like,
that one
why?
that one kind of took me by surprise. Devon Achan I can see because obviously he played a pretty good significant amount of snaps in the first game. So I could see him definitely, with an injury or something. Now they might try to work him through the week, see how he goes, but especially being a Thursday game, they might just sit him and let him rest. That way, he'll be ready for the next week. Most Stewart, on the other hand, that's a very questionable one. But I will say that if anybody has Jalen Wright, I would be prepared just in case. Watch how the news goes, and you could potentially see Jalen Wright starting if both HN and Mostort, for some reason, both get ruled out.
You don't think they got Wilson ahead of him on the depth chart? You don't think they'll throw him in there first?
They'll probably give him some snaps, but
You think they're going to focus on Jalen Wright?
I think it's going to be a committee. I think it'll be a committee with him, Wilson, and then Wright or until one of them shows that they're better suited for that spot, which, in all honesty, I really believe in right. I mean, my ranking for when we did the running backs earlier this year kind of showed it. So,
Right.
but I think at first it'll be a committee until Wright shows more flashes, and when Wright shows more flashes, that's when they'll be all right. You'll be the third guy behind the other two.
Yes. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Austin on that one. I'm not gonna because I was like, that's why I brought it up. I was so confused by what was coming out, who did not practice, who practiced, and then I was thinking, when did he get hurt in the game? And then I had to scratch my head and go back through some articles and then rewatch some videos on trying to get highlights and try to figure out what happened and what did I miss because I remembered most of the game, but then again, as sometimes with all the games you watch, you kind of miss some things and it kind of threw me off for a loop. So out of this game, I am just curious to just pick Austin's brain right now because I'm gonna tell Austin before he ever tells me who he thinks is gonna win. I believe that two of them are gonna come out victorious against the Bills.
Oh, so you got an upset.
I got an upset. So I'm asking you, do you believe in that upset or am I just blowing smoke like I did at the Kansas City Chiefs game?
I mean, I see your point. I see why you would want to get them, but with a running back question marks. Now, if Achan was, there was no question about it. He didn't have no questions on him, and he was ready to go. I would kind of lean towards more of the Dolphins because the Bills' offense honestly didn't look really too good to me. It was literally just Josh Allen here to save the day. I'm going to do everything because I am Superman.
Yeah. I
They
kind of
did
felt that I felt the same way.
yeah, they had a couple of good runs with James Cook, but other than that, it was mainly Josh Allen just trying to basically, you know, do everything. Because if you remember, the Bills were actually down in the first half by 17 points. And then Josh Allen did Josh Allen things and then basically brought them back. Now the question is how long can Josh Allen actually keep doing that? That's the real question because there's a lot of wear and tear on your body when you're trying to literally s- be the main person to save this offense.
Right.
So, if the running back situation was a little bit more clear, I don't know. I do really like the Dolphins though,
They were
because
looking pretty good.
I also personally have Tyreek Hill in one of my dynasty leagues, so I'm kind of biased.
No,
but
that's not bias. I have Tyreek Hill in one of mine too. So
but honestly, you know what? We're gonna get jiggy with it, and we're gonna go with the Dolphins as well as an
all right.
upset.
So I want to bring up a mess to you and I want you to unravel it for me.
I will do my best.
Oh, please God help me. I can't even get the words out of my mouth, the expression of what I saw.
Well, I have a trash can beside me just in case I need a puke, depending on what you ask me.
Okay, so let's go to Las Vegas.
Oh God.
What is
Okay.
your outtake? I mean, when I seen that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Uh, I'm scared. I'm like, okay, I'm not scared because I don't have nothing to lose in it. But I mean, Minshew, come on. I just there's no quarterback there. I mean, am I missing it? Am I wrong or
Uh,
am I
no.
calling it too soon? I mean, I know preseason was rough, but when you come in the game opener like that and it's rough, I mean, let me give you an example. And maybe this is a comparison I shouldn't even say because he didn't throw a touchdown pass. But if you looked at Justin Fields' play at Pittsburgh, and I know they only scored field goals, and that was a defensive win, but
Mm.
he was able to get it down with no turnovers. He controlled the ball. I think he did a lot better. He wasn't running for his life. Then I look
Well,
at Minshew and I'm like, I don't know. The
well,
accuracy wasn't there.
Justin Fields did run though a
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah, he
but
did.
it was kind of some of them was by design. Some of them he just took it and ran. And I think with the Gardner situation, I mean, you pay for what you get. You pay you wanted to go in, pay mediocre. You wanted to buy a mediocre quarterback. You get mediocre results. I mean, like these people that go up and it doesn't work all the time, but there's some people that like for instance, like literally 3 hours before the game, Jerry Jones decided to drop big money on Dak Prescott's lap because I don't know if you noticed it, but overall in the NFL as of right now, we really need more quarterbacks.
I
And
agree.
and that's the reason why I know we question, well, some people, no offense to Jaguars fans, but everyone's like, why would you give Trevor Lawrence this much money and stuff, and he ain't done nothing? Well, if you look at overall in the league, it is atrocious with quarterbacks. So even if you have a Trevor Lawrence or somebody who's a little bit, I'm not going to say super high tier, but at least tier two, tier three level, you're going to pay them because you're afraid of seeing what's on the other side. And you're starting to see a lot of these teams that are trying to cut corners with just grabbing mediocre quarterbacks, and which is not a surprise. Gardner, I don't know. I mean, somebody else might like him. I mean, he did pretty good. He did pretty good with the Colts, but the Raiders are a totally different thing from what he had last year. So, and another thing, Antonio Pierce was a little bit more conservative from
I
what I
agree.
noticed. I
Yeah,
noticed he's
especially on
I
that 4th and 1, he should have went. He
I
shouldn't have
know
gave the
I
he should have punted
noticed,
it off.
and I understand the mind. Well, I don't understand the mindset, but I kind of get it because last year, when he took over as the interim head coach, he was basically like, you know what, screw it. If I'm gonna, has like, there's a 50 chance that I'm gonna get a job anyway, so why not just go for it and stuff? And he was pretty aggressive, but and I think, in my opinion, I think the Raiders need to keep that mentality and be aggressive with it instead of being super conservative with it. And I think you would see a lot more numbers. I mean, you would probably see Gardner Minshew actually have a little bit better numbers than he had this past week. I'd say give it at least another week or two before you just stick a fork in him, though.
All right.
Let's just give it a couple more weeks, and by that time, you should actually have a really good idea of what you're getting.
So let's just talk about regular PPR points. Now, you guys understand that me and Austin's in leagues that have different kind of scales. Yes, we're categorized as a PPR league, but we do have bonuses. So it sometimes adjusts where people would place. Um, with that being said, looking at last weekend's performance, I mean, the top 10 scorers just in PPR, just in standard PPR, you had Barkley number one, Jaden Reed number two, Cooper Cup. Wow. Okay. Yes, I'm a Cooper Cup hater. Sorry. Not that I'm a hater of the person. I like the guy. It just, I'm a doubtful guy. I didn't think he'd ever come back and ever see him in the top five again. So I was kind of shocked
Oh,
that he performed well enough to
well,
get there.
I wasn't shocked. I mean, even before Puka went out, he
Yeah,
was
and
still
that
get
did help. I mean, with Puka going out and
well,
that,
even before he went out, he was still getting fed.
Yes, he was. He was getting fit. He was healthy this year. So that matters. So Cooper
And
Cup did suffer a little bit last year because of health issues and
and
injuries.
I think the major big breakout year that he had last year is always going to be questioned because it was like, well, would he actually have that year if Cooper Cup was there?
Yeah. And statistically in fantasy football, it's hard for a wide receiver to repeat. Yes, there's the Justin Jefferson. That's Justin Jefferson. Yes, there's the Michael Thomas at one time. That's Michael
Dude,
Thomas at that time. There is times where certain wide receivers come out and they are so great, they can repeat. But on an average base, Cooper Cup is really a good wide receiver, and he's going to have, you can see now, he's going to have his times he's going to shine and times, and a lot of it's based on the team's health, not just his health, because the team matters too, and his health. Last year, the Rams suffered a lot in injuries on the O line. They suffered injuries with the quarterback. They suffered injuries with the wide receivers,
they're still suffering
and they're
injuries.
still suffering. It's injury galore at the Rams. Uh, with that being said, I am happy for the guy for week one. Josh Allen, like you said, he was the Superman. There you go. That's why he's number 4. And then I'm going to give props to the man that's sitting over there and say, yes, when he said you should have started Baker Mayfield, you should have started Baker Mayfield because, and I did listen to him because I had Baker Mayfield on like what, 5 of my fantasy teams.
Right.
And
I
yes,
mean, he balled.
he
He
balled in every
balled.
league, even on the bonus leagues. He was like a baller. Um, a surprise. Now, it's up for grabs. Yes, he performed very well week one. Let's see how week two comes. Jaden Daniels. So he's the rookie, play 6, PPR, great performance. And the guy behind him, I had no doubt in him. I've talked highly about him when he came out of college. I've liked him at the get go. I felt sorry that he got hurt so soon at Indianapolis. And then that week one showed you what Anthony Richardson is. Even though they lost, don't beat yourself up for that because
We're
the
talking
man
about we're
performed.
we are talking about fantasy here.
Yes. Well, fantasy or football. I mean, if you're an Indianapolis Colts fan, you should be ecstatic to have him as your quarterback.
And he had all them passing yards with only 9 completions.
I know. Did you see that 60-yard bomb? I mean, it was like he didn't even, and he was getting hit while he did it. And then he ran through defenders. Now, last guy I seen that did that was the Cam Newton. I hope he takes care of himself and stays healthy because he's a great quarterback. And I
Well,
can't wait to see what more he can produce.
I hope Jaden Daniels does the same thing though, because his helmet came off twice in this last
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is very concerning.
yes, it is concerning. I agree. Uh, the next one that was a shocker, and I scratched my head, and it happened last night, but then he's done it in the past. So this ain't the first time I'm going to mention Alan Lazard. I mean, he has come
Oh,
out before and did a bang up game. I mean, he is a good wide receiver. He is someone you want to play in a flex because you never know what he's going to come out with, especially if Aaron Rodgers is there. Uh, Aaron Rodgers struggled. That whole team struggled, but then look at who they played. It was the San Francisco 49ers guys. I mean, it doesn't matter if they didn't have Christian McCaffrey. They're on the brink of winning a championship. They're just short stepped every year. Uh, not every year, but just recently. If we go back in history, it's a whole different story. Number 9, Joe Mixon. Okay. Okay. Yes, I was never on a Joe Mixon train. I thought, why did Houston pick him up? Okay. Okay, I get it.
well, I mean, they gave him 30 rushing attempts, so I
Yeah.
mean,
He should put the numbers up. You got it. We ain't gonna argue that. And then let's talk about the man. The man. The man that I mentioned before. The man I say you should play this week. And I think he'll continue to put up the numbers, but Austin has his doubts, and and that's where me and Austin different. I am a little bit more like cut me open and throw my guts out on the table. He's like, hey, you got to refrain a little bit there, buddy. I say, throw him down and let's play him. Isaiah Likely, he plays 10th. And right behind him, we're going to go ahead and mention the three-way tie behind him. And there's a defensive player in there. Thank God. And a kicker. And a kicker. All right. I always
Oh,
say give
I
kickers
think I know.
love.
I think I know who the kicker is too.
Yeah. So yes, Isaiah Likely. Sorry, Likely. Uh Place 10. Our three-way tie for 11 for points scored at a PPR standard. Tyreek Hill, Jake Moody, and Chris Boswell from Pittsburgh. How about that? A three-way tie with an offensive player, which is phenomenal. Did I say that word right? Phenomenal. And then
Phenomenal.
phenomenal. There you go. Phenomenal. I knew something wasn't humming right. My tongue was hitting to the left. I got to get it more to the right.
That's funny.
Jake Moody, what a leg.
Oh
All
yeah.
right. And let me tell you, I'm not a Michigan fan at all, but that man right there was a kicker I tried to draft right off the bat when he came into the NFL because I said he's the future. And people are like, why do you like kickers? You know, I've been in leagues where like, can we get rid of the kicker? Why? And I always put it up for a vote, but guess what? The kickers always win. Give the kickers love. You got to give the kickers love. Kickers could change a game. Chris Boswell for PPR. I don't like the standard settings for defensive, but I'm happy and I'm glad to see he's in a three-way tie with them. And he's Pittsburgh. And what? Pittsburgh defense. Think about it. What a
Well,
defense.
well, yeah, because that offense sucks.
Hey, slow it down, buddy. Steelers
Oh,
Nation's out there listening right now. You got to calm that down.
I'm sorry, Steeler Nations,
Thank
but your
you. God.
offense sucks.
Oh my God. He slips it out again. Jesus. All right.
I'm
I,
sorry,
I,
but
I
you
do
should.
not condone or believe everything that Austin speaks sometimes. There you go.
You know they're probably agreeing with me.
All right. There's some
But
work that needs to be done in certain rooms.
because
But
they have an
Najee Harris,
amazing defense.
yeah,
An
Najee
amazing
Harris.
defense.
Yeah, well, they do. That's and defenses win championships. So if you could just touch
Yeah.
up the offense, you're going somewhere because that is
Oh
an
yeah, absolutely.
unbelievable defense.
See now they love me.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, yes, that defense is awesome. Uh, all right. So I just wanted to kind of cut the air and also want to prop. I know now I'm getting out of the top 10 and I said I wouldn't do this, but man, we got to go to the Detroit Lions. We got to give the love to the former Alabama wide receiver. Used to be
Yes,
the
you
backup
do.
wide receiver at Ohio State, Jamin Williams, Jamison Williams,
Now this
Williamson. What?
Yeah. Now this is one of the guys I was pounding my fist for all off season.
And he come out to do it.
And did he? Because he had more touches than Amon St. Brown, which
Yes.
is just outrageous.
Yes, I totally agree. And then I see my numbering got messed up, so I'm not going to go any further because I didn't do something right, but I see it now. But everything was right, 11 up. What I just said was perfect. And then, right behind him or in front of him was Lamar Jackson by just 1 point or 1.3. Let's
Mhm.
be correct. And then let's shout out to another defense that is very, very good as a whole.
Can
And
I guess?
yes, I want you to guess which defense I'm fixing to name that made it in the top 20 as top scorer in fantasy.
This is the only question I'm going to ask. Is it the NFC or AFC? Because
Mm.
I have two in mind.
Well, give me both yours.
Okay, the first one. Well, actually, no. The main one that I really was thinking about was the Bears.
Oh, you hit it right on the nail.
Oh, okay, that was
I
the
didn't even
main
have to give
one.
you the hint.
Okay.
What was your other one? I want to hear your other one because I think your other one's right behind them.
No, they're not actually. I just
Oh,
looked up.
oh, okay.
No.
Okay,
Well,
but
you continue. I'm gonna look at it real quick. You
yeah.
continue though. But yeah, I
So
chose the Bears.
Yep, the Bears is your best overall defense in fantasy for PPR. They won that game. Now, it's only week one, and I will take caution to week one, just like Austin said. And on this, I'll take caution because I don't have no previous data to say anything different other than his college performance, and his college performance is actually really good. So, with that being said, I hope he cleans it up. To me, I think he has the best wide receiver crew out in the NFL, or at least the top five. I hope he
Yeah.
fixes it. And if Caleb Williams can fix it and get it, I think the Bears will be that team. But it's not, yeah, they won their first game, but they only won that game because you had a great defense.
So that other team I was gonna guess, they were actually third over the week. So I would
Oh,
have been
okay.
wrong on the second. Because I was the next one I was gonna get was the Cowboys, but they actually finished third of the week.
Okay. So I think it was a great week. Watching everything I seen unfold. There were some good games, close games. Toe tappers to frowns. Jets don't get disappointed. Um, the other
Uh,
people I wanted to mention was, yeah, Bo Nix struggled. Bo
ugh.
Nix, it was like it was not what you seen in preseason. And I thought to myself, what? And I don't want to be mean, and I'm gonna be nice and polite about this as best I can. The first thing that flashed in front of my eyes was an eagle, and then it was an SEC game I watched. And it was when Bo Nix played for Auburn. It was a
Okay.
total like,
Okay. I know
uh,
where you're going with
and I
this.
was like, so what happened different? He went to Oregon and he showed out, and it was like this great scheme and this great thing. And you seen like, why couldn't he do that at Auburn? And then I seen him play in that game, and I was like, okay, you're going against the top of the top elite. I mean, you don't get to the NFL because you're mediocre. You get to the NFL because you are that. And I'm not saying the Pac 12 ain't that great of a conference. I'm not saying that either. I'm not trying to bash no
What
conferences here,
conference?
or what used to be the Pac now to kind of join. They're the lower tier of the Big Ten now. Yeah, I went out and said it now, buddies. Yeah, you joined the Big Ten. You're not in the top, even though people want to put you there. At the end of the day, when it's done, the guys that are going to be at the top has always been at the top. And I'm clapping my hands because I know what I'm talking about. uh, but then I seen that, and I kind of felt sorry for the guy in a way. And then I was thinking, what was Sean Payton thinking? Uh, but
Well, Sean Payton's offenses are always kind of complicated.
yeah, and then that's the next thing that popped in my head. I said, this guy's got a plan. It might not be the plan he's going for, but it's the best plan he's got for right now, and we ain't seen it. Now, Cortland Sutton, I still believe will be the number one wide receiver for right now. So if you're playing a wide receiver from Denver, that's the guy you need to put on your bench. Not on your bench, but on your starting roster. Uh, and then the other guy I picked out as a bust start for IDP is Patrick.
Sertan?
Huh?
Patrick?
Patrick Queen from Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I think he'll be he's surrounded by stars. It's his time, and he was surrounded by stars at Baltimore. And when you have that opportunity around other stars, you get chances to really do a good job. And I just feel it. Um, I would tell you guys, if you had Will Levis, don't play him. Sit him. Find you a quarterback. And that's all I'm gonna say. That's what I feel about that one.
I don't, well, you know what? I'm not even going to give you that one now because he was literally one of my sits.
Oh, he was one of your sits. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I'm going to pivot. So because
Oh
there's
man.
there's no sense in me talking about it because you already done chose him.
No, tell me why you were wanting to sit him, because I want to hear your viewpoint on him,
Well,
because I'm confused
dude,
about him.
did you see that game last week?
Yes, I
He
did, and
made
that's
he
why
made
I
some
said sit him.
he made some questionable decisions.
Yes. He could have won that game if he didn't throw the ball.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And
That's like me playing
and
Madden.
and another thing you really want to sit them is because they're playing the Jets. They're playing
Mm,
the Jets defense. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a bad combination to me. So
yeah.
I would that's the reason why I would definitely sit Will Levis because and that's I had another sit that actually was from the Titans and it's not a specific one, but it's literally any wide receivers from the Titans I would sit as well.
Yes. All right. That's a good summary.
I mean, it's literally Will Levis and the Titans wide receivers I would not play against. But yeah, well, since you stole my thunder on some sits, I already done said some sits. I'm gonna give you a couple starts
All
real
right, give
quick.
me some starts.
All right, so I know it wasn't the greatest game last week, but obviously being in a new offense, the quarterbacks being in a new offense, they were also playing the Steelers. So that defense is rock solid. So I mean, I am willing to just crumble that piece of paper up and throw week one in the trash because playing against the Steelers is pretty rough. I don't
Mm,
care who you are. So one start I would go with is the wide receiver. I would go with Drake London to start because, like I said last week was kind of a rough week because obviously you're playing the Steelers, which is not very good for anybody. But this week, and I know what you're thinking, this week they're playing the Eagles. But look at the secondary and what happened last week. They got shredded.
they did get shredded, and they need to
A-
clean that up.
And that's the thing. They got shredded. And that's the reason why I would think that Drake London would be a wonderful pick because that defense needs to clean some things up, and also they're going to have to, you're also going to have to deal with Kyle Pitts because he actually scored a touchdown, which Kyle Pitts fans are just raving. He scored a touchdown, and also Bijan being Bijan, getting all his targets and gadgets and doing all his stuff. So I think it's a good opportunity for Jake London to actually have a good game. Now, I'm not saying he's gonna finish top 10 or anything, but I mean, heck, if you can get at least a wide receiver 12 out of him next week, I think that's gonna help tremendously. And then I'll give you one more. Now, this is crazy. This is actually on your level of crazy.
All right, now I'm interested.
This is actually on the level of you're crazy.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
But I'm gonna give you a quarterback you should start.
Okay.
Next week they're going up against the Washington Commanders. And I think you should go with Daniel Jones.
I will let you ride with that. I don't really agree with it, but okay, I can see it because the Washington Commanders do have a little iffy thing on the defensive things. I think at the end of the game, Washington Commanders will win. Uh,
Well, their defense clearly did not look that well.
no, week one was, this week one compared to last week one for defenses was completely out of the norm.
Right.
Normally, you see defenses like coming out just blowing it up,
But
and this year it wasn't that way.
the only reason why I say Daniel Jones, as much as we hate it, the only reason why I say that is because Washington's secondary is awful. It
That is
is it is awful.
Yeah, that is a
And
sleeper.
if Daniel Jones can just hone in and super feed Malik Neighbors, I think you're gonna have a really good day from them because we already know Daniel Jones can run. The only thing that he's got to clean up is actually, quit being Daniel Jones
Yes.
and actually play like a quarterback.
And a lot of
That's
people believe this week is going to be Neighbors' week. Yes.
right. That's the reason why I'm willing to start. If I had Daniel Jones as an emergency pivot, because you know you got a questionable Lamar Jackson that you don't know might play or not because it's early in the week. We don't know. And Daniel
Yes.
Jones is if Daniel Jones is your backup, I would, as much as we hate Daniel Jones any other week, this week against the Commanders, I think I think he can have a good game.
All right. So let's look at this pick 'em for this week. Let's kind of go into week 2. Right now, I'm going with Miami beating Buffalo, and I know that's the spread ain't that huge on it. I'm also picking Baltimore over Las Vegas. Uh,
That makes sense.
I'm gonna throw this one out to you real quick. Yes, New Orleans Saints defense looks good. Yes, Derek Carr is a little bit okay, but I honestly think that Dallas is on a roll. And we talk about Michael Parson, we talk about different players like that, but there's a player on that defensive, and I couldn't think of his name earlier when we talked, but that's Kendricks. He was the highest scoring defensive player for Dallas this week. Now he's questionable. Well, questionable is questionable. You don't know until the game day. So there's a good chance he'll be out there playing. And that whole defense was playing at a different level.
Right.
And I know it was against the Cleveland Browns, and everybody's like, "It's the No, the Browns is a good team. Deshaun Watson, maybe. Ah, okay, that is the worst NFL deal that ever occurred, and it should be official by now. People shouldn't be debating that question. Um, but the defense there ain't that bad. So I think overall, I think Dallas is going to take that game. I think we're going to see Dallas win it. And then the next pickup that we had was Los Angeles Chargers versus Carolina.
Chargers are gonna win that.
Oh, I'm taking the Chargers. And why I'm on the Chargers, let's talk about the hardball schemes. Like not the Baltimore one. We're in now the Chargers land. There's two
Well,
hardballs.
they're technically the Los Angeles Ravens at this point.
Yeah. So J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. J.K. Dobbins did more with his touches than Gus Edwards. He looked phenomenal. Uh, only thing is can he stay healthy? At the end of the day, can J.K. Dobbins stay healthy? I have him on a team. I did play him in a flex position. I was happy. Um, I hope he continues to do what he's doing because just like he did at Baltimore, he beat everybody out for that position and then got hurt. And Gus Edwards stepped in. I see that happening at the Chargers now. Lad McConkey had a decent start for a wide receiver. He was the target guy, but not many targets, but he did score a touchdown, scored points, played good. I think we're going to see more out of him. I still think he's going to be the number one wide receiver for the Chargers. So yes, I'm all for the Chargers.
Let me let me get your input on this game on the
Okay.
pick'em because I know you love this team. So Sunday Night Football, you have the Chicago Bears playing the Houston Texans. So, so I know the offense for the Bears has got to get situated, and Caleb Williams got to get a little better, but that defense is really good.
That defense is good.
really good. So
Yeah, but I don't think they're
I
going to shut
want
them out.
your. Oh no. I mean, I understand they're not going to shut them out, but you know, when that offense faces that defense, how do you see this game going?
I see it going better than a lot of people think because I think at the end of the day, Houston's going to walk away with the win. The difference between Houston's offense and some of the other offense is CJ Stroud has been doing very well at limiting the turnovers, controlling that ball, leading it down the field. And watching Joe Mixon perform last week, I think if you've seen any kind of typical performance like that, which I don't think he'll have as good of a game against the Bears, because the Bears is a good defense, I still think CJ Stroud's going to have enough to push that offense open. If Caleb Williams don't clean up his offensive end by that time, it is going to be a close game. And the only reason it's going to be a close game is because the Chicago Bears defense is that good. They're going to keep it close. And I do believe the Bears will score their field goal, maybe a touchdown. Rome Tuesday is questionable, or is he out officially now? I
Right
don't.
now, he's still questionable.
I think he was still questionable. But you still had Keenan Allen. He had issues holding the ball, but I don't know if it was his issues or was it the throws. I mean, if you look at it, it could go either way. You still got
So,
DJ Moore there. I mean,
so which wide receiver from Houston will have the best fantasy day?
mm,
Because Stephon Diggs, he scored 2 touchdowns along with getting some catches, and Nico Collins was getting some catches too, which is really surprising that Tank Dell didn't really do much in that game.
I was surprised on that too. But when you're hitting Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, and they were just pushing that ball up the field, and you had Joe Mixon just running it and catching it, I think Stephon Diggs is still going to lead the group coming out as wide receiver as he did last week. I really wanted to see Nico Collins step in that position, and they paid him the money to step in that position. But then you got to also come to realize like reality here. I mean, Stephon Diggs is Stephon Diggs. I mean, he is a decent when he's playing his performance and he's doing his job. He's a good wide receiver, hands down. And I think route running, he'll do very well. And I think playing against the defense they're fixing to go up against, I think that is the guy that's going to excel higher than most of them.
Okay, I like that.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that game. That is a watcher for me for sure. Uh, it's not that I'm a Houston fan now. Maybe I am. Uh,
You are.
yeah, I know. I know. I feel such a traitor too. I mean, I got all this Eagles stuff, and I sit there and I watch more Houston games than I do Eagles games now. Still love you guys. It's just right now I'm kind of like in a little, like
He's doubting
yeah,
him. He's
yep.
doubting which love interest he likes more.
I'm moonlighting, you could say.
Oh, okay.
It just maybe it's not appropriate. So yeah, that game right there, I'm gonna ride everything on Houston. I'm gonna go with Houston, take it out. And then I also agree with you on Atlanta. I am gonna oh here I do it. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Wait, are you doing it?
Yes, I did it.
Okay.
I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Okay. Hey.
Uh uh
Hey, I mean, until that defense shuts
str-
down, I mean, I know we only had one game, but from what we saw, only time can tell. But that defense really needs to stop the pass game because if not, and Kirk Cousins starts getting hot, in my opinion, I think it's going to be tough.
so what do you think that total points of that game will be?
Well, obviously the Eagles are going to score.
Mm-hmm.
I really see Atlanta scoring too, so this might be crazy, but I got the total points at 54.
I'm with you on the 54. I believe we're gonna see that.
Because I mean, both offenses are going to score, and if I really like the way the Atlanta's defense played against the Steelers too. I know the Steelers' offense was bad too, but still, I mean,
Right.
they They could have just played Molly mediocre and let Justin Fields just throw dimes on them all the time.
We got a few more games to cover. Uh, so let's just get this one real quick. We won't even because we've discussed these two teams a lot already.
Right.
I'm just gonna pick my pick. I'm gonna pick Pittsburgh over Denver. I just don't see Denver pulling it out of the thing. Um, I'm gonna go with Washington over the Giants, even though you think the Giants are gonna have a better game. I'm going with Washington.
Well,
Now,
but I said Daniel Jones is going to have a good game, and for
yeah,
fantasy,
yes.
I didn't say the Giants are going to win.
Oh, okay.
Let's make that clear.
Okay.
I
So
just said Daniel Jones is going to have a good fantasy day.
you're going with Washington. Okay. So let me tell you about a hot mess, and that's Cincinnati Bengals. Uh
Oh,
every year it's a slow go. Every year it's a struggle. And then he starts firing on all cylinders. It is too soon for Cincinnati to play Kansas City and Cincinnati pull it out.
yeah.
So
There's no way, man.
I believe Worthy,
Especially with Xavier
Rashi
Worthy,
Rice,
and
Isaiah
you know,
Panchenko, and the way that Kelsey's playing and everybody playing, I think
and you
Kansas City's
know they
going to take
might,
it.
just might get Hollywood Brown back too. Just
I thought
might.
it would. I thought they still had him listed completely out.
Well, they said he's been on track, so if
Oh,
he could still be out, but still, regardless, I mean,
yeah.
it's just ridiculous.
So we
Kansas
got
City
we got
is
I
just
think we got what
ridiculous.
statistically the last since he started the NFL, I think week 5 is when he starts like
It's around week 5, week 6.
go ahead and sit Joe Burrow. Uh
I mean, I would.
I mean he still scores enough to be up there to play, but
Now, I wouldn't sit Jamar Chase though.
no, I wouldn't. I want to talk about Jordan Love, man. I hate to see him going out like that. He was having a good start and then that
Well,
happened.
at least it's not severe. He at
Yeah,
least
yeah.
will probably be out at least 3 or 4 weeks, so we will see him again.
Yes. So I don't know if Green Bay's on our list. So if Jordan Love was playing, I
Did
would
you
say it would be a game, but with them playing against Indianapolis and the way Anthony Richardson played and the way that defense played,
and
and
did
if
you
they
see
go
who
ahead.
they were possibly going to name as the starter for Green Bay?
Yeah, what was his name? Malik
Malik
Willis.
Willis.
Yes. And we seen how that turned out at Tennessee. Uh so my finger just hit it. My finger said Indianapolis Colts. Uh
I went with Indy as well.
Now, the only heart torn situation I have right now, and it's not really a heart torn. I think in reality, we just need to look at it. Both of these guys are going to be in the playoffs. I don't care what anybody says and how you say it. At the end of the season, I'm telling you, we're going to be talking about these two teams again. The Detroit Lions and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're both going to be there. I think season game is going to go to the Buccaneers. I think Baker, Mike Evans, and all that little crew is going to have their glory. Um, I don't know if it'll turn out like that in the playoffs. It's a little too early to talk about that, but I just see that that's still what you seen last weekend is just a start. Now, the Lions are going to be right with them through the whole game. It ain't going to be like a shutout. It's going to be a battle, and it's all going to be about who turns the ball over and who has that ball last at the end of the game. So, but with my thought on it, I am going to go with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go the other way. I'm going with the Lions.
Let's talk about a slow go start. Uh, Arizona, Los Angeles Rams. Rams riddled with injuries. Arizona, questionable come out the gate start. Kyle Murray did pretty decent. Marvin Harris for his first appearance, 3 targets only, one.
Well, that defense, the defense that the second half, it was like a tale of two halves. Arizona did everything in the first half,
Mm-hmm.
but then in the second half, Josh Allen turned into Superman mode,
Right.
and the Arizona Cardinals defense was already not that great. And then when you get Josh Allen turning into Superman mode, I mean, it takes a really tough defense in order to, get Josh Allen back out of that mode.
Right.
So, and then it's kind of like the Bills woke up really because their defense, they kind of, yeah, Arizona did score a couple more times, but it was like, after the Bills done took a lead and stuff. So I think there's a little bit of inconsistency on both sides. I think if they're going to want to win and put out a team, they need to stay consistent throughout the whole game instead of just having one half really good and then the second half, oh gosh, we don't know how to play ball now.
Right. So I'm gonna go with Arizona. I think it's gonna be a different game. I think
Okay.
with the Riddle injuries, Matthew Stanford on the line, he's also questionable at times. Really depends his health at the game, and
Hmm.
I think Arizona's going to pull it out.
Okay.
Little saucy, I guess, but I'm going to do it this time. Week 1 is going to disappear for the New York Jets fans. In week 2, you guys are going to be thumping your chest and saying we are in it. And the frown face that we got from Monday Night Football will become a big smile and might prolong a couple more games than the 3 games I predicted.
Hmm.
I think Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Brees Hall are going to put on a showing and they're going to just like win against Tennessee and it's going to redeem themselves for a moment. And
Well, I
I,
mean, it's Tennessee. I expect them to win.
why did you have to like just throw it down like that? It's just Tennessee. I mean, come on. Let's hype the people up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on, we got to hype them up. We got to make the Jets feel good.
That's
That's a
Hey,
big group.
do you not remember? That's your job.
Oh
My
yeah.
job is the realistic one. Your
Yeah.
job is to we live in La La Fantasy Land.
All right. Well, I'm fixing to bust New England down. Uh,
I'll join you.
Yeah, Seattle's going to tear you up. I'm sorry. That's all I got to
Unless
say.
I do think that Seattle needs to start off on a better footing than they did this past week, though.
I do too, but I think they have it. I think it'll click. And I mean, New England's building a nice thing, and the defense looked good, and they played clean football. That was wonderful. But how long is that sustainable? I mean, you're going against Seattle next week. Experienced quarterback, experienced defense. It just that whole situation just looks different.
Oh, it definitely looks different.
And I am filing a formal complaint against the next team we're talking about. And I've already wrote my letter to Roger Goodell saying that this is unlawful and penalties should happen swiftly and something should come of it. Uh San Francisco, Christian McCaffrey. Don't ever do that again. Come on, guys. I mean,
Oh man,
you don't know how
man,
many
man,
fantasy
man,
teams you burnt. I
man.
mean,
And
something's
here's
fishy about
a-
that. I mean,
and
they
here's
knew about it.
and
They
here's
knew
the
about
and
it.
here's the crazy thing. After the game, they interviewed Jordan Mason,
And he said
and
he
then
was running
yeah,
back one
and then they were like, "Well, how long did you know you were
Friday.
starting?" Oh, I knew Friday. I was like,
Oh
wait,
my.
you knew this Friday, yet you did not want to tell us fantasy managers who have Christian McCaffrey until an hour before the game.
I
Do you
know.
know how livid I was?
And see,
Because
the only
I have him in an ESPN league, and I was winning. I was winning, and I had Christian McCaffrey, and he had Aaron Rodgers. I was like, "Oh, I got Christian McCaffrey. This is in the bag. I have nothing to worry about." Well, guess what? Here
you had
comes this.
everything to
It
worry
comes
about.
around 6 o'clock, and they said, "Oh, by the way, Christian McCaffrey's not playing." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Guess who I can pivot off of Christian McCaffrey on a Monday night? Absolutely no one. So, needless to say, I am beyond livid.
Yes.
And
So
Kyle Shanahan needs to get their crap together. And then now, possibly Christian McCaffrey may or may not miss the second week. But who knows? Who can we trust? We will have to find out.
yes. So with that being said, I will end up picking San Francisco because they didn't really need Christian McCaffrey, and I don't. Okay, Sam
I don't
Arnold
I
played a
don't
good
care.
game.
I don't
Sam
care
Arnold
if
played a good game, but I
I
don't think he's going to handle San Francisco.
I don't care if the 49ers didn't need him. I needed him. I don't care what the 49ers need. It's what I need.
Now, if you play in an IDP league, there's a linebacker on Minnesota you need to be playing, and that's Andrew Van Krinkle. Ginkle, right? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Don't be sitting him in your IDP league. Man was a star last week. And
You just also start Ivan Pace Jr. as well.
yes, that's another one. And then on your Joey Boza finally came to light this year. He had a little bit of issues
I
last
was
year.
I was really surprised on how well Sam Darnold played last week.
I was too. And see, that's what I'm
Then
trying to tell.
again, it is the Giants.
Yeah. That was another thing. And I mean, now you're talking about San Francisco's defense and offense. And I mean, Minnesota did good last week. Props. But I am going to pick San Francisco over Minnesota. Now, we have another hot mess to talk about, and it's two hot messes on both sides of the ball. Uh, where do we begin? Yes, earlier I stated this team was probably made the worst NFL trade ever. They're going against Jacksonville Jaguars.
The
Uh,
Browns?
yeah, the
Oh,
Browns.
sorry.
Uh, ETN was the number three or number was it 3 or 4 running back last year? I got to look it up again. I can't remember.
It was 3.
3. He was right behind Brees Hall. Brees Hall was 100 points behind Christian McCaffrey. That's how good Christian McCaffrey is. Okay, guys.
Yeah, guys.
100 points difference between second place.
I could have won.
Okay, we know you could have won. That's why I think penalties should happen. I think fines should come. And I think
Yeah,
Austin should be.
and I want some of it for my emotional
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. How about 100? Well, let's some money,
damage.
like $1 million. The
You
crazy
got
stuff.
you have to do the pinky.
Yeah. Oh, it's that.
You have to do the pinky. There you go. There
I
you
got to go get me a
go.
putty cat. Uh,
And sharks with laser beams.
I already have them. I thought everybody
Oh,
did that. Thought everybody had sharks with laser
well,
beams.
I did, but I asked for sharks, but they sent me alligators because I guess they
Yeah.
thought I lived in Louisiana or Florida or something.
I guess there's all the gator fries I was talking about and the crawdad sauce we had last week.
Yeah, and I told them that they were like, Is this Ralph's residence?" And I was like, "No, no, it is not."
That picture out front is saying that guy's not welcome here. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, so this is a tough choice. Cleveland or Jacksonville? I'm going with Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm going with Jacksonville because I don't know about you, but Brian Thomas Jr. looked really good.
So this week, what I want you to work on Jacksonville, several things, but the main thing
Let's
is
give
ETN, hold the ball and hold the ball tight. That's all I got to say. Just run the ball. Just hold it. Just
give
hold it.
him the
Hold it.
ball more. Give Brian Thomas Jr. the ball more, and I will.
Yes. Did you see him burning down the field? I
Oh,
mean,
he looks so
ugh.
great.
And
He
it
looks
scared
so
people.
great.
It opened up that whole like slot thing there because everybody's like, wait a minute, this guy's getting away. I mean, so I
And
think there's magic coming. It just ain't got it here yet.
and I'm so glad he fell to me in the rookie draft. Cause
And
he, cause he fell to me because I didn't have a pick until like the 4th round, and he fell to
right.
me, and I was like, I will definitely take that.
And before we end this show, I want to say something about a wide receiver that I have always knocked. Always had high potentials, but always shot down, and that's Alec Pierce for Indianapolis. Now I see that if he has a quarterback that sees him, things can happen. And I hope you keep up the good work. I hope you redeem yourself. I hope you get where people now will be more relevant, putting you on a team. Um, I'm happy to have you. You were on my bench. You scored me points, and Marvin Harris scored me 2. And if I had had you up there, we'd be talking about a win over here. Now, it's still hard for me to put you over Marvin Harris. And I probably won't this week, but I have a flex spot that I'm definitely throwing you in this week. So please, you and Anthony Richardson need to sit down and make sure you got it all worked out this week too, because
They need to
I
go
need
have a
points.
they need to go have a cup of coffee, you know, have a little breakfast,
Yes.
and then, go play some putt putt, hit the practice field, do routes together, and I think they'll be okay.
So right now on our pick'em pool for week 1, I had 8-8. What was your? Now this also has a point spread too. So it's like I picked Houston to win, but they didn't win by 3.5 points. So that's
I went 9-7.
9-7. Okay. So you got one more right than I did. See how this week goes. We just went through our pick 'em. College. I did a little bit better in college than you did. We talked about
Yeah,
this
you
earlier.
yeah, you did a little bit better in college than I did this week.
And I think next year, not to be mean, I think it was great that you pulled these apps up because I love them. But I wanted to just do you and me, where it's just you and me in the thing. So this way we can just look at our stuff and not everybody else's. Um,
Well, this was also the spare of a moment, so
yeah. You did a
eh,
better job at coming up with something than I did. So right now I'm at 85% for college picks. Um, so I'm 12-8 total. I'm ranked 54K in the group. 85 percentile right. I have 120 points. That's pretty cool. Uh, this last week, I think my week 2 misses was I got the Pittsburgh game right. I did pick them over the Bearcats. I picked Syracuse over Georgia Tech. This is where I had a dream, and I was
it's bad
smoking a
when you
little
have
bit.
dreams.
Yeah, I know, and I was smoking hardball. I mean, not smoking hardball. What am I talking about? Let me get this right.
You had
I don't
dreams of
know.
harballs.
I had hardballs in my head. Uh, so I'm an Ohio State fan, and it's hard for me to even say this name, but Michigan, I was hoping brought pride to the Big Ten. And I just thought, well, it'd be a miracle if these guys could pull off a win. And at first, I had Texas as my pick because I knew Texas was just downright better. And I said, at the last moment, I said, this is for the Big Ten. And if Michigan can pull it off, I will admire Michigan for at least today. And they didn't pull it off. So it was an embarrassment. And I got it wrong. Another disappointment was a shocker, and it was a game. It wasn't like just a blowout. I picked Arkansas over Oklahoma State, and the game was the game, and Oklahoma State just better offense. I mean, it was down to the wire.
Arkansas let that one go.
They did. They
They
did.
they they basically gave them that win. That was so awful.
And then I had the Hawkeyes over Iowa State Cyclones, and that was a 1 point loss. Um, I picked Illinois over Kansas City Jayhawks. That was a win for me. And I definitely picked Tennessee over North Carolina State Wolfpacks.
Oh
And
yeah.
and then I knew before the game, and I'm not saying Colorado ain't a good team. They're a good team. But Nebraska's been building. Matt Rue's been doing an awesome job there. And I knew this was the year that I knew that Colorado wasn't going to go up there and win that game. And I was right. It was 28-10. Colorado scored most all their point, not Colorado, but Nebraska scored all their points in the first half. But second half, he kind of dialed it back. Nothing against Dion in the group. I don't consider Colorado like Nebraska's now starting to come to their own. They're going to be one of the teams to be reckoned with in the Big Ten. And I hope it continues. I think he's got a pretty good lineup. The next game I picked Texas Tech over Washington State Cougars. Did not see that coming. Wow, what a blowout. In the next one, I think Mississippi State kind of dropped the ball and Arizona State just left them. And I picked Mississippi State. So, and I think the
Right.
heartbreaking loss of the whole weekend was watching Notre Dame fall to Northern Illinois from the MAC division. Now, I'm going to tell you, any given Saturday, you can get beat. It doesn't matter how good you are. Even your greats like Alabama, Ohio State, they have lost to these non-Power 5 teams before too. So it ain't like the first time we ever seen it. It ain't a shocker. It ain't like the end of the world.
And why are
But
you heartbroken?
but it was sad to see that team work so hard to turn out and beat Texas A&M, and then they lose it. I mean, I hated it for them.
I think
But
they spent their energy on that last game, and they rode that high a little bit too long, and it kind of bled into the other game.
so going into week 3 to end out the show, and let me tell you guys, if you like what you're here listening to and you enjoy watching us, please hit the like button. Me and Austin are trying to figure out what path we want to go. We ain't really sure on how to fill it. I know the last show we kind of went into it. I wasn't feeling good. We did a quick hit. This week we covered a lot more than what we normally do, but I like what we're covering and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please continue to hit the like button. Please keep subscribing and we're going to keep putting out this great material if you guys enjoy it. So to finish off the college topic, we have the next week pick'ems, and we're just going to cover them real quick. We got Texas A&M against Florida Gators. I'm going with Texas A&M.
Me too.
Then we got the Washington State Cougars against the Washington Huskies. I am going with the Huskies.
Me too.
Then we got the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Pittsburgh Panthers. Now, I'm a little struggle and a little bit tight on this, but I am going to lean more towards the Pittsburgh Panthers.
As of I.
Appalachian State versus Eastern Carolina Pirates. I am riding. Okay. Appalachian State had a little slip up. East Carolina hasn't. I'm actually going to go with Appalachian State Mountaineers on this one. I think they're going to overpower. It always happens every year. It's that slip up, but that's just where I'm at.
Right.
Indiana Hoosiers against UCLA Bruins. I am going with the UCLA over Indiana.
Really?
Yes, I'm going to take the Bruins.
Okay.
They have a spread offense. So does Indiana. The only thing that could bite UCLA is the defense, but UCLA they put up good competition against the Big Ten. So the UCF Knights versus the TCU Horned Frogs. Oh my God. I'm going with the Frogs to think they're going to take down the UCF Knights. Oh my God. I couldn't get all that out.
Yep.
Now we have the rematch from last year. If you watched this game last year, this is like, back in like Colorado State Rams are not fond of Colorado Buffaloes, but I'm going to give Dion's crew, even without Shiloh, I believe they're going to pull out a victory.
Yeah, I do as well.
So the last one on the list is the Maryland versus Virginia. I've watched both teams, highlights, not got to watch a whole game. I've read a lot about both teams. I am actually going to have to go with Virginia. I believe they're going to.
I went with Virginia as well.
So total points for LSU in South Carolina. And let me tell you, South Carolina is looking good this year.
So who did you pick in that game?
must have rolled past it. I missed them too. Sorry. So on the LSU South Carolina game, I'm picking South Carolina Gamecocks.
Okay.
I think they're going to upset the LSU Tigers. We're going to see the Tigers drop out of the top 20.
Okay.
Uh, Memphis Tigers against Florida State Seminoles. I don't know if you hear
Um,
that thumping. Do I have to pick this? And I will.
I picked Memphis.
Okay. Um, you know, I can't really argue with you. I
I'm
mean,
sorry, but
yeah,
this is
the play we've seen so far has been horrifying at Florida
yeah.
State.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
quarterback can't even hit his wide receivers. I was going to actually give them this win and say they redeemed themselves. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Florida State and say this is where they redeem themselves. Uh, so going back to my last question, how many total points LSU and South Carolina will score? I believe it'll be 63.
Oh, you went higher than I did.
What did you go?
I went 32.
I believe there's going to be a good scoring game, high up, but I think Gamecocks are going to pull it out. They're looking really good on the field.
Uh, they do look good, but I still went with LSU. I think they redeemed themselves.
All right. So I know we cut the show a little early this week. This is Tuesday. We normally do it on Wednesday. Certain circumstances arise where we had to get it out early. I hated to kind of do it on this day because I kind of wanted to see what Wednesday's reports were. Um, on your fantasy side, I hope you guys have a good week. As I said, our picks and sits, Cortland Sutton is a wide receiver, Isaiah Likely is your tight end, and Patrick Queen. And then who was your picks again?
My sits was obviously Will Levis and
Oh God, yeah.
and
Will
any wide
Levis.
receiver from the Titans, but my
Yeah.
starts was Drake London and Daniel Jones.
Yes. So hopefully you guys take our advice, run with it. Let's see how week 2 turns out and injuries. And oh my God, let's hand them out to everybody. I want to. Just just I'm speechless on that. I mean, I don't want to
Just
see another face expression like that from Aaron Jones again or Aaron Rodgers. I mean, oh my God.
that was especially just for you.
I think it was when San Francisco walked out on the field. He was like, huh, what just happened?
Uh,
Where did Garrett Wilson go?
but
I'm
not him.
sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that. All right. So if you guys like, hit the like button. Please keep subscribing. We want to build that following up and we'll keep on putting out the content. Thank you guys.